How do you show up in your business or your leadership when things get hard? I'm Suzanne Rath, and you're listening to Endures for your daily dose of endurance, leadership, and life lessons. So, I've wanted to do this podcast for a couple of weeks ever since I listened to Rachel Entrekin on the Rich Roll podcast. And she talked about how, so Rachel Entrekin, for context, is a trail runner who this year broke the men's and the women's record in the Cocodona 250. So that's a 250-mile race. And she's gone a little bit viral, particularly in the trail running community. And a lot of it is because of her attitude. And so she talked about how one of her core goals with Cocodona this year was to explore how she showed up when things get hard. She has won the race twice before. And she talks about this one time that she won it, how even though she was faster than the previous time, she just was miserable, or she wasn't showing up in the way that she wanted to. And so she set this as one of her core goals, to see if she could still be a good person, if she liked the person that she was whenever things got hard. And I thought about this and I thought, well, how do we relate this to our leadership and our lives, and not just to, pushing ourselves in the endurance sense? And so I've come up with 3 core things. So the first one is, how do we show up that aligns with our values? So I think it is fine to have expectations that align with our values. It's fine to hold high standards that align with our values, but is the way we're behaving aligning with our values? So, are we screaming at people in traffic, or are we not showing compassion to others, or are we being sympathetic rather than empathetic, right? Are we making it kind of about us rather than trying to see the other person's point of view? And this is just such a core thing in leadership and in business, because we want to be able to show up with composure, with clarity, with calmness. It doesn't mean that we're going to be walked over. It doesn't mean that we don't have boundaries, but are those boundaries aligning with our actual values? Now, the second core thing is around showing up with transparency. But I think I would actually add a level of positivity to that, right? And not toxic positivity. But I saw a post the other day from Harvey Lewis, who's another famous trail runner in the US. And he spoke about, whenever anybody asks him how he's going, he'll say that he's amazing. And it's not about toxic positivity, but it is about, he sees runners who, as soon as they start complaining about pain and, being down about the whole experience, they will finish and fall apart so much sooner. Now, I don't know, correlation, causation, who knows? So I think in leadership and in business, it is important not to be toxically positive. It's important to be transparent about things that are going on, but we still need to steer the ship. So getting that really good balance between actually admitting when things aren't maybe going quite right without descending into bitching, moaning, and whining is really, really important. And then the third core piece is about seeing things as a learning experience. So one of the things about Rachel, one of the things I try to embrace when I trail run, one of the things many people I admire try to embrace is not just focusing on the win or the finish line, but focusing on the little changes you want to make over the course of the journey. And in this world where things are changing so fast, I had a conversation today about a workshop session in September for a group of human resource leaders. And, they said the same thing that I'm hearing in every industry, in every boardroom, in every business networking meeting. Change. It's all about change and adaptability. And that's what we're struggling with. Everything's changing. We're all struggling with it. We need to find a way to start viewing things more as learning experiences. There are few things more changeable than, say, going back to do a trail running race. We can't rely on the weather, the terrain, the people around us, the nutrition, the experience being the same. All of these things are super, super changeable. And It teaches us how to be adaptable and how to see things as a learning experience. So I hope that's resonated with you today, and I'd love you to think about how you would like to show up when things get tough. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow for more from Endures. Bye.